I'm so good at this thing that it's even a joke. And it's because I spend like a eighth of my time daily and even a quarter of my time on weekends just on screen time watching football, watching every game. I'm watching Mocamp, I'm watching Saudi Arabia League, I'm watching United States League, I'm watching MLS, that's US League, I'm watching Turkey, I'm watching South Africa, I'm watching Nigeria, like any game that is being played at any time I'm free, I'm watching that game. And that's why whenever I come and bring all these hot takes, like I say why this thing is not working with our team, sometimes people just don't really agree, like they just feel probably talking nonsense. But forget about the views, forget about the numbers. If you just observe everything I'm saying, everything I've been saying in my previous video, even in the last lineup, the way I say, like, these are the changes that we need to make. And the people are saying, like, no, even when I said, like, for Aston Villa, the right keeper that we should go with should be Sanchez. And people are saying, like, why? You have all been criticizing Sanchez all this time. Why would you need him to go back in goal for this particular game? And I gave out the reason. I gave out my reasons in the video before the game. I gave out why we needed Sanchez and not Jorgensen in that game. And then finally, after the game, some people started telling me that, okay, uh, we did not believe you, but right now we feel you are onto something. But I've been onto something all through my videos. Like sometimes I feel I should be at the technical bench because it's not so hard to tell what our weakness is. And sometimes that thing of trying to find a solution a lot, and I've been saying this for a long time, like somehow we usually go into that overcoaching. Like sometimes you get a lot of talented players, but you want them to behave in a certain way that is far off from how they play. Like sometimes you get a very defensive minded player and you want him to attack or want him to be in front. And at the game, you'll start seeing the mistakes. You'll start seeing him not positioning so well. Even with James, I thought he was so good in that game, but sometimes he wasn't positioning so well. And it's because he was being played out of his position. And it was appropriate at that time. It's even appropriate. And I will say again, even with Southampton, I still want James at that position. But you expect certain mistakes, and those are the mistakes that you know. That's why when even in a company, when you do some SWOT analysis, you have to identify your weaknesses, you identify your strength, you identify the threats that are coming, and you identify how to make the best out of those things. And for our team, even as you position all these players in that, trying to fit, because we have all been discussing the mistakes that we have as a team, and they have been okay. We don't have this kind of defenders, we don't have this kind of midfielder, we don't have this kind of, which it is justified, but it doesn't mean that we are playing with people who are at the bottom of the bottomest pit. Like we have, they are not world class, they might not win you the league, but we have some of the best players in the league. Like if you take any player, even when they took Disasi, who we thought he was so bad, when he went to Aston Villa, he was playing so well. He just went and fit in right at the center back, and even was better than Minks. Minks, who is managing a team that is beating us. Now, if we take Chaloba and put him in any other team apart from the top four, again, he'll be performing so well that at some point we'll start wondering if, and that's what we saw. Like even when he was performing at Crystal Palace, why do you think we like brought him back? Like we brought him back, it was because we saw like, why don't we see this guy playing The way he plays in Crystal Palace, he plays in our team. Like, we had to reconcile all those, like reconcile all these two players, the Chalobah in Crystal Palace and the Chalobah in Chelsea. And even if we send any player, you take Madueke out, you take, we have been doing all that from time immemorial. Like the way you go to Nottingham Forest and you see how CHO plays, Callum, and you want to reconcile the CHO in Nottingham Forest and the CHO that we had in Chelsea. And you find that sometimes, okay, the pressure might be there, and the pressure sometimes usually builds people, and sometimes it breaks people. In this case, it might have broken some guys and they were not performing as they should. But there's no single way you'll tell me that the squad that we have right now is not enough to get top four in this league. Like, there's no way you can tell me that the squad we have right now is not even enough to be title contenders. We have a right squad, we have the right profile of people. Probably we have to feel like maybe three positions, but the other positions, Cucurella, you look how Cucurella plays, and there's no any left back that plays with like him in the entire world. You see how James and Balogusto plays, and there's no any player that is better than those two. Like you could say about Trent, but Trent was dribbled past 11 times. Last game they played with Man City, was it yesterday? He was dribbled 11 times. Doku cannot dribble Malogusto 11 times. Doku cannot dribble Rese James more than 3 times, even twice. It will be so difficult for him. And then you go to the midfield. Caicedo is one of the best players in the world. Like, there's none that can play the way he plays. Enzo is among the some of the best 8 in the world. Like, if you have to choose, if you have to make a top 10 list, Enzo will find himself there. That guy is a World Cup winner. Like right now, how many wingers can just come and be better than the wingers that we have, the wingers like Neto, Sancho? You may say that, okay, these guys probably they're not playing as they should, but technical ability, technical wise, how they can score, Neto, like there's very few wingers that can play as well as Neto. Like, if you remove the top, the Salah, the Vinicius, the Mbappe, after that you'll have the likes of Neto, even Sancho. Now, why is it that a team that has like 5 or 6 or 7 players who can be in any bigger team, in any world beating team, in any title contender, like a team contending for the title, be poor in such a way that they can't defeat all these lower? It's not even mid, they're just teams at the bottom of the league. You have to see that and see that the problem is not the players. Like, the problem has not been the players, the problem has not been the technical, the problem has not been the technical, the problem is, okay, it differs, but mental. And you cannot solve mental by bringing a therapist. Like, you are staying with a player, asking him like, what is happening with your life? Why are you divorced? Why are you getting back with your wife? Is it affecting your match? That's not how you control the mental of the players. Like, the mentality of the players, how to solve it, how to create a team, is to find a way. I don't know how to put it. the way you should understand is to find a way that if a player gets into the pitch, like he forgets about everything happening, he forgets about his form, he forgets about what the fans said, he forgets about what everybody has been saying, and then he just is just free to be himself, to play the way he wants, to score. And you can only do that if you put the other team as the enemy, the other team as the biggest enemy of it all. Like the way, that's how we have always been approaching games since very, very far back. You see a Mourinho team, okay, right now is a little bit washed, but in the past, you will see a Mourinho team, you will see a Ferguson team, you will see a all those top beaters coach, and they will go into the match. They didn't want even to greet the other team. They didn't want even to laugh with the other team. They didn't want, because at that game, this other team is the enemy. Like they have all these missions to win because they know winning, like winning is the solution. Like playing the best of your abilities is the solution. And now moving from that mentality thing, the other thing is because okay, time have changed, and now people just finished the game, they have been defeated, and they're smiling with the coach. It's like you come out of your relationship and then you're still texting the ex and smiling with them, and yeah, he has taken my car, he has taken the half of my. That only shows, okay, it has happened. We are in that position. We are in that position where we have to deal with such kind of players. And now, if we have to deal with such kind of players, we have to go back to what I was saying about SWOT analysis for every game. You have to know what's our strength, what's our weakness, what's the other team's strength, what's the other team weakness. How can we put our team? This is how made, like those teams that are between position 6 and 8 with uh, very few world class players. Like you see how Brighton plays, and sometimes when it faces a bigger team, it knows how the bigger team plays. Like you are water, you are just flowing depending on the opposition that you are meeting. If you are meeting a world class team, a team that wants to attack you, you put our team in such a way that we are defending, then hitting them on a counter attack. If we find a lower league team which we think we can dominate, now we find players who can dominate the other team. Like we change every game, we change every game, we try to find the mistakes of each team and work ourselves in that, like create a strategy to fight it. And that's how all these other teams have been doing to us. And because Maresca has not been changing a lot, he has always been caught. Like if we know how to score you and you come to us the same way, we'll keep scoring you. The only two teams that you knew they were going to play, but even when you went there to try and defend them, you couldn't. Like that Tiki Taka Barcelona 2012. Yeah, you knew how they were going to play, but you were not able to, because they had like 11 out of 11 of good players. At Man City, at some point, you knew how they were going to play, but then again, you couldn't defend them. Even our Chelsea, the 204, 205, 205, 206 Chelsea, you knew how we were going to play. Like we will defend, we will just stay at the back and hit you on counter, and you will try every means. You will never. But these other teams, we are being caught, and it's because for Maresca, and I'm not going to blame Maresca, but I'll have to say it that he was birthed at the point where this Guardiola form of playing, the Man City way of playing, had peaked. But people have been playing that way. I've been trying to find solutions for that team, for that how they were playing for like 7, 8 years since 2017. Right now it's 9 years, 9 years, 8 years. Now 8 years of constant trying to figure out this kind of play, and now finally you could see from last year, it's like the teams finally found a way. Even last year, how Man City won, it was just it's because they had to, like they had all these players who are trying to win. Like they were pushing so hard. It was not like in the previous years when they were just so good at it. It was like they were pushing so hard, and you could tell that it is the end of that play. And even as and why am I saying as an Wenger? Ateta tried it and it did not work for him, and now he has been trying to find a way to like change the things. Even the Bayern Munich coach company tried it initially at the first six or like the first 6 months of his career, like until December. Then right now you see their game and you find they are trying so hard to change because it doesn't work so often. And now Maresca needs to know this, and I know he has been trying to change, but he has not been trying to change in the same way that he should change. Like you should just ditch the whole thing, like ditch the philosophy, ditch the players that are playing like that, and find a way to play all these games without being inspired by that form of play. I don't know if he'll do the same, if he'll do it. I don't know if he'll follow our advice. If he was following our advice, like for a period now, if he was seeing our videos, if he had tried, if somebody had sent this video to him and he watched it and he was seeing the suggestions that we were making, game after game after game after game, and seeing all these problems. We know it's the coach, we know he's staying so much time with the players, but that's also a fallacy, because sometimes it happens that sometimes you look into your mirror, but because you have been seeing your face so much that you think you are good looking. It's the same way, because you have been staying with your parents so much, you think, or your wife, or your anything, you think they are the best thing in the world, but they are not. Your father or your mother might be a murdering cunt outside here. Like he may be murdering people, he may be stealing, he may be corrupt, but because you have stayed with him for so long and he has been giving you all these things, you have all this fallacy in your mind that he's a good person. I think that's the same thing that maybe coaches usually don't want to admit, because you may be in training and a player trains so well, he greets you very early in the morning. Yes, Gaffer. He brings in all those cones. You ask him for anything, he's doing. He's bringing the cones, he's running, he's moving up and down, and then you have a certain bias on him. Like you feel, because he's working so much, I'll have to select him as opposed to this other guy who looks lazy in training. But the guy who works so hard, it's just because you have a bias with him or on him or towards him. Whenever he gets to the real pitch, he's not doing the same thing that he should be doing. Probably he's crumbling under pressure. Probably at that point, he can't please anybody. He has to play. Like the pleasing and the working so hard in training is the thing that pushed him to be in the first 11, and not the actual output is putting in on pitch. And now you have this guy who is you are darling, making a lot of mistakes, but because you want to show all these other players that if you train, you'll get a number. Or if you train so well, you'll get a number. If you do this, you'll get this. Now you are afraid of subbing him off and bringing in the lazy player who keeps giving you results. That's one thing. And also, it's also about the way you play. Because if you are a coach, you have to have that ego. You have to feel that I'm the one who has come up with these tactics. I'm the one who has come up with all these things. So if I'm going to put it out there to my players that my tactics or the things I'm thinking or the way my strategies are not working, and you try to change it every other week, it will look to the players or it will seem to the players that actually you don't know what you are doing. You are also just a picky ponky on these tactics, like you are not the coach that we thought you are. But you have to choose your poison, and the poison that is available right now for you to choose, for Maresca to choose, is to first shift his tactics a little. Like, shift your tactics a little. Don't think that by trying to make people, by trying to force people, to encourage people, to motivate people, that if they go to the pitch and they give their all, they will win the game. If the tactics are bad, they might still give their all and lose. Like with Aston Villa, I'll say that personally I saw all these players giving their all in first half, not in second half. In second half, I think they were tired, and it was Maresca's duty to sub a lot of them, but he didn't. But somehow they gave their all, but they still lost. So winning is a combination of very many things. But to sum up the things, again, strength and weaknesses. And now we are going to face Southampton. And Southampton has been losing. Like, for the last 10 games, they have only won twice. One in FA versus Swansea, and the other one was it versus Ipswich 2-1. They have also conceded a lot of goals. They were beaten 5-0 by Brentford. They were beaten 4-1 by, I think, was it Manu? Or 3-1 by Manu, 4-1 by a team, I'm not sure. They're not good. This is our chance. This is a chance for us. It's like you have been suffering a lot, and then just God appears out of nowhere and tells you, like, my son, I've seen you suffering. I've seen you going through a lot. Now, take this. Let it help you. This, for me, this is how we are being handed Southampton. We are being handed a team that has been torn apart. A team that knows, I don't know. I think right now, everybody in that team, even the medical staff, even the coach, even the fans, even the cook, they know they are going to be relegated. Like, everybody in the world knows that Southampton are going to be relegated. Like, it's 12 games, they are playing poorly, they are conceding goals. So they will let us win, unless we give them the win, unless we decide that, you know what, we are not Chelsea, or we are Chelsea. We are not a Chelsea Football Club. We are Chelsea Charity Organization. We are a charity club that is giving 3 points to any team that feels they need it. If we play like that, we'll give Southampton 3 points, and I don't think even the fans will be angry. I think they will go like, yeah, we know it. We knew you will give the 3 points away. This is a game. This is a game that you don't think a lot. You just turn into Real Madrid. You just tell the players, Go and express yourself. Remove all the pressure. Remove all the pressure. Forget all the comments. Forget all those people who are saying like Palma is done. One season wonder. Nkunku is done. He's just thinking like is already in PSG. I don't know who else is done. Like Colwill is done. Cobham Tax. Sanchez and Jorgensen are done. They need to join that Liverpool former keeper. I don't know where he is. Like James is done. He needs to go and join Lavia at the sanatorium, at the clinic. Forget all those comments. Forget everything that people have been saying. This is one game that you go in and play like you are playing in training. Just play, express yourself, be like show people that you know football. There's no a lot of opposition that is coming with Southampton. I know they play, they usually if you have seen their matches, they usually work so hard in the first 15 or 20 minutes, the way we usually do. They usually work so hard in the first 15 to 20 minutes, they play, they run, and then they just decide that when the other team settles on the ball, they just decide, you know what, we are not doing this thing. Like, let us just go and prevent goals from coming in. So that's the same way I think they will approach this game. And I think for us, because they have seen our weaknesses, I'm so sure right now the Southampton coach is busy on his laptop analyzing how to score us, how to deal with whatever. I'm so sure they'll not find anything, because if he's looking at our form, he'll just find a bunch of people allowing people to score a lot of goals, making mistakes, and we actually don't play bad. That's the thing. That's the thing. And that's why I'm saying that we have world class players. We actually don't play bad. We actually play so good. But the reason we lose is that we don't score enough. Like sometimes we passes too much. Like it's just the decision making. And the decision making is also a pressure thing. Like when you start thinking, like the previous game, when Palmer had that chance where he could just score, and then you see him trying to dribble past the keeper, or like trying to control the ball to make it perfect to score. That's a thing that is running in his mind. Like that's the thing where you are on the pitch, but you are thinking, can I score this? Like, is the space enough? Am I ready? If I lose, will the people talk about me badly? That's the thing happening. Like when you see Jorgensen struggling with a ball, like he has played so well, but then when he faces a shot, he's struggling. He just lets the ball pass through. Like I've not seen somebody consider a goal like that for a very long time. Somebody just lets the ball pass through his armpits. Like it's laughable. Like you see all this game and then you see the mistakes that these players are making. It's laughable. It's something that they are so good that it's muscle memory. And now when some things are muscle memory, but like when you see somebody like Chris hitting a free kick, like it could not be in the right state of mind, but when he hit a free kick, it just flows from the leg, because the leg is so used to hitting the free kick the same way. And now when you are in a position where your head and the body is not collaborating, like your body, when you go to the pitch, it has all that muscle memory. It knows what to do when a ball comes. You have to like first touch, a good first touch pass, or shoot, or trying to do, like it's already trying to play the way you usually play, the way you have been trained for so long, the body knows. Like you don't have to think. Like sometimes, that's why sometimes people are saying like, how is that player? Like when they see Neymar doing all these skills, and they wonder like, why is Neymar so good that sometimes he's not even seeing the opponent coming, but he always find a way to bypass them. It's not like they're thinking, it's not like they're doing that microsecond thinking and decision making. It's just muscle memory. It's just the leg is knows, if this guy comes, this is where I'm hitting the ball. This is how I'm maneuvering through these guys. This is how I'm doing. This is how I'm dribbling. It's like Messi, because the reaction time, especially in top leagues, is very small. Like if you stay with the ball for a second, I have played not in top league football, like in very amateur football, and I know the reaction with the ball. Like if you stay with 1 second, 2 seconds, you have a lot more people on your side, like trying to get the ball. Now, just imagine the best of that amateur football has to go through all those levels to play in top 5 league. Those people are so athletic, especially if they're coming from all those. Okay, if you are in UK, you can find just your way and find your way through the academy or something. But if you are coming out of Japan, if you are coming out of Nigeria, South Africa, South America, even US, you have to be the best of the best of the best. And now you find some people just know how to maneuver through the best of the best of the best. It's not thinking, it's not this the speed of thinking, it's muscle memory. And now here's the problem, because when like how our players are right now, it's because they're in that position where they have to think. But whenever you think, you and the coordination, like you are thinking and your muscle memory are moving in different direction. And that's why you see somebody like Jackson, when he was getting certain chances and you'll expect him to score, but the body wants to score, the legs wants to hit the ball, but the brain is telling the body not this time. And now you see him making all these mistakes or falling down or trying to stop the ball, but the leg was already trying to hit the ball. But the body, the mind is telling the brain is telling the leg stop, and now it's stopping at the mid. You can't play like that. You'll make a mistake. You'll be caught into two decisions. Now you are trying to stop the ball and hit it at the same time. You are trying to catch the ball and punch it at the same time. You are trying to stand to pass the ball and pass it in front and pass it backward at the same time. You are trying to run. This is how all these mistakes happen, because we have world class players who are at the position where their mind is not right. And this is one game where we can afford certain mistakes. With Southampton, we can afford certain mistakes. This is what I'm just putting in. You don't have to overcoach in this game. You don't have to think. Don't even look at what Southampton. Forget whatever I've been saying in the previous game, in the previous videos. Forget the analyzing of our strengths and our weaknesses. Forget all that. Forget about winning. Forget about drawing. Forget about anything to do with playing. Just put the right squad. And the right squad is everybody at their favorite position. If you're starting with Jorgensen, I don't care whether you're starting with Jorgensen or Sanchez. Start with Jorgensen. If you are using two CBs, take two CBs. Take the left center back as Colwell. Take the right center back as Chaloba or Tosin. I don't care. Take the right center back as Malogusto. Left center back as Cucurella. Try to put the way you just did Caicedo and Reis as mid. Forget about the okay. Put who's that? Enzo as 10 or an 8. Put Palmer there. And if he's not playing to the best of his ability, I mean, even this game is one. This is one game where you could not even start with Palmer. I sure he wants to play, but this is the right game to not start with Palmer. You can just tell him, I don't tell him nothing. Just put him at the bench. Start with somebody else. You can even start with George in right wing. Start with Sancho on the left wing. Or forget about Nkunku. Start with Pedro at the striking. Don't overcoach. Don't try to tell them to do what. Just tell them to enjoy the ball. Play as they know how to play. Pass, score. And wait and see the magic. And if we win this game, we will have stopped the curse. We will have stopped that bad run of form. And now we can go into the other game because it's just immediate, I think, from 25th to 28th. It's just 3 days. We can move from this game to the next game, knowing that we can win. You see, that's how we should approach all these games. That's how we should approach the remaining 12 games, because we have a chance. We are in that position where I remember a time, I don't know, was it in 2020, where every team did not want to be position 4. Like teams did not want to go to Champions League. We were struggling with, I think, Man U, Tottenham, and we will lose, and then we will expect like Tottenham or something to win and to, like have a certain, what do you call it? Like, why am I forgetting this word? But we will expect all these other teams that were in position 5 and 6 to win, to get to position 4, and to have that a huge point difference with us. And every team was losing. I don't remember which season was that. But every other game, every team was losing. And we were losing so much, but we were still 2 or 1 point away from top 4. We are at that position. Like, I think we have lost 3 games in the last five games. We have lost 3 out of 3 games in the last 5 games. But we are still 1 point off top 4, because every other team is losing. Like, right now we are in a position where the top 6, even Liverpool has drawn twice in the last 5 games. I think Arsenal has lost twice or thrice the last 5 games. Nottingham Forest have lost thrice in the last 5 games. Man City has lost thrice in the last 5 games. Like, this season is weird and it's enjoyable if you are winning. Right now we are not winning, but if you are winning, there should be a season where we should have taken the, I'm so sure. And don't get me wrong, and you can go and check my videos. At some point when they wanted to sack, I was a huge criticizer. I used to criticize. I was a huge critic for Pochettino. But at the end, I suggested that we need to give Pochettino 1 year. And I think Pochettino even knew that he was doing so much, but we were criticizing. I remember his last press conference, when the journalist asked if he had talked with Boehly and the rest, and if they wanted to sack him. And he was telling the journalist, why don't you ask me if I want to remain as the coach in this Chelsea? Because I think he knew probably was doing a good job. And I felt that maybe he was It is he who wanted to go. It is not. I don't think they were willing to sack him at that point. As much as people are complaining, they have been complaining all over they complained throughout the season. I don't think they wanted to sack him right now. And I feel like, if you ask me, even at that point, there are two coaches which I thought they should not have been sacked. And probably they went on their own accord. One was Sari, even as people are trying to say that we are playing a very boring football. I wanted him to remain. Sorry. I wanted Pochettino to remain at the end. In the beginning, I was against how he approached the games. I was against him approaching the game the same way he has been doing with PSG but he tried to change. And now, I've been a huge critic for Maresca, and it was because I felt he was not trying to better the tactics. Like, he had this, like a template of play, which he was just moving around with it, like trying to fit every player onto this template. Like, you are the only remaining left back, you have to go in front. You are the only right back, you have to go in front. And sometimes it doesn't work. You have to find ways to ensure all the players play to the best of their ability. Like, improve the players, develop them slowly by slowly. Try not to just take a player and put him as a striker. We even suggested Alonso to be played as a striker, and they did not in the past. And I've come to discover why. Like, you just can't take a player out of position because he's scoring as a left back. Now you think he'll score being as a striker. It doesn't happen. You have to develop these positions slowly by slowly. And it's the same thing I want Maresca to do. Like, just try to work with the squad in the way that it works for the squad. Don't try and put people in such a way that they're struggling in their new position. Don't try and force people to play in a position where they don't want to play, where they're not good at playing. Don't try to make Malogusto score a goal. If that time reaches, it will reach, but don't try and push Malogusto to score a goal right now. Don't try and push all these other defenders to try and move forward when there's a lot of work to be done while defending. You know, if Maresca does that, I've seen him trying now to implement different tactics. If he does that, I'll be his number one supporter. I'll be coming to this video and praising him even when we lose. If I feel he had nothing to do, I will take the blame and put it on the owners and try, like, let us bring the world-class players, but that can only happen if Maresca shows that he is learning, like he's watching the games, he's seeing where the mistakes is, and he's trying to correct the mistakes. Yeah, that one. Anyway, nice day.